The box on the landing pad, the night sky above Outpost 9, was clear. But the ground crew felt uneasy. A strange ship had landed silent, silver, and without any identification. No one stepped out, no signal was sent. Only a large metal box was placed gently on the landing pad, as if by invisible hands. Then, without a word, the ship rose and disappeared into the stars. Commander Rel arrived within minutes, his boots echoing across the cold metal floor. He had seen strange things in this part of space, but this was different. A box sealed in dark alloy sat motionless. In the center of the pad, on its surface, was the crest of House Valkyr, of the oldest alien noble families. And below it, in bold glowing letters, were 2 words in Terran standard: a gift. Rel frowned, his hand resting near his sidearm. "Scan it," he ordered. The tech team moved quickly, waving their scanners, checking for traps, explosives, or life. The results came back strange. No radiation, no sound, but something inside was definitely alive. "It's a biological," one of the techs whispered. "Heartbeat detected, but faint." Rel gave a short nod, then stepped forward. He pressed his hand against the box. It was ice cold. With a hiss, the top slowly unsealed, lifting upward. A soft blue mist escaped. Glowing faintly in the night air, inside the box, curled like a child in deep sleep, was a girl. She wasn't human, but close. Her skin was a soft lavender, with faint patterns like stardust running along her arms. Her hair was long and silvery. Tangled and dirty, she wore a thin tunic, torn at the edges, and around her neck was a collar metallic, blinking. The crew gasped. Rel stepped back, eyes narrowing. "Is this a slave?" someone asked. "Or bait," muttered another. Rel didn't answer. The girl stirred slightly, her lips trembling as if she were cold. Then slowly she opened her eyes. They were large, glowing faintly blue, full of fear and exhaustion. She looked at Rel, then tried to sit up, but her body was too weak. Her voice came out as a whisper: "Please, don't send me back." Then she collapsed again, unconscious. The silence that followed was heavy. No one knew what to say. Rel stared at the girl for a long time, his jaw clenched. Then he turned to his officers. "Get her to medbay," he said quietly, "and don't let anyone near her except me." Later that night, Rel stood alone in the command center. Staring at the box, he had it moved inside and locked down for study. On one corner of the inner lid, he found something hidden, a small, blinking light. A tracker, disguised. Someone was watching. He didn't like it, not one bit. He played the docking footage again. Frame by frame, the strange ship had no pilot, no signal, no broadcast. It was ghost-like. And the girl, what kind of gift was she? Why now? Why him? He opened a secure channel to Central Command, but the signal was blocked. "Jammed from somewhere nearby, of course," he muttered. They were being tested, watched, or both. The girl lay in medbay. Monitors softly beeping, the medic reported. She was stable, but malnourished, bruised, and sedated. Her DNA was mostly alien, but with human traces mixed in. Hybrid maybe, but from where? And for what? Rel walked to the glass, watching her breathe. She looked peaceful now, but something about her was deeply unsettling. Not because she was dangerous, but because she looked like someone who had been through too much, too young to carry so much pain. Suddenly her hand twitched, her eyes opened again, met his. Even through the glass. For a moment, it felt like she knew him. Not just saw him, but knew him. Rel turned away, confused. This wasn't just a delivery. This was a message, but from whom? And why? She wakes, but won't speak. The girl woke in the medbay just before dawn. She blinked slowly, her eyes adjusting to the soft glow of the lights. A breathing mask rested near her mouth, but she pushed it away weakly. Machines beeped beside her. monitoring every heartbeat, every breath. She sat up halfway and looked around, confused. The room was quiet, too quiet. Her fingers reached for her neck, touching the collar still locked in place. When she tried to remove it, a small spark shocked her hand. She gasped and pulled back, her body trembling. A nurse walked in and froze when she saw the girl awake. She didn't scream or panic, just slowly backed out and pressed the alert button. Within seconds, Commander Rel entered, flanked by 2 guards, but he raised a hand, signaling them to stay outside. Then he stepped into the room alone. The girl flinched when she saw him, her eyes wide with fear. Rel stopped a few feet away, kept his voice calm. "You're safe here," he said. "No one's going to hurt you." She didn't answer, just stared at him like a frightened animal. He tried again. "Do you understand me?" She gave the slightest nod, but still didn't speak. He took a step closer and placed a bottle of water on the table near her bed. She hesitated, then reached out slowly. Her hands shook as she drank. It was like she hadn't tasted clean water in days. "What's your name?" Rel asked, gently. No reply. "Where did you come from?" Still silence. "Do you know why they sent you to me?" Her hands tightened around the bottle, knuckles turning pale. She lowered her eyes, lips pressing shut like they were sealed. By fear, Rel sighed and sat down in the chair across from her. He pulled out a small device and tapped it, showing her the crest of House Velkar. "Do you know this symbol?" She stared at it, then slowly nodded. "Were you made by them?" She hesitated, then gave another tiny nod, almost ashamed. "Are you a weapon?" he asked. This time, she shook her head firmly. "Then, what are you?" She opened her mouth, but no words came out, only a dry breath. Then, finally, in a whisper barely louder than a breath, she said, "I don't know." Rel leaned forward, his voice softer now. "You asked me not to send you back?" She nodded again, her eyes shining with fresh tears. "Why?" "They'll break me again," she whispered, then covered her face with her hands. Rel stood quietly and turned off the recorder. He had enough for now. He left the room without pressing her further, but the questions only grew. Who were they? Why was she made? And what did she mean by break? Later that day, she was given proper food and a warm blanket. She still refused to speak to anyone but Rel, and even then, only a few words. The crew called her the gift behind closed doors. Some were curious, others frightened. One officer asked if they should send her back to avoid trouble. Rel said nothing, but the look in his eyes ended the conversation fast. The base's I found something strange in her cholera signal beacon, encrypted alien tech, sending a pulse every 6 minutes. It wasn't just a tracker, it was a live transmitter. Someone was listening, watching, waiting. Rel ordered it shielded, but not disabled. He wanted them to think nothing had changed. That night, the girl sat near the glass window of the medbay, watching the stars beyond the dome. She looked fragile, but there was something strong in her posture now, like she was starting to believe she might survive. Rel entered and sat beside her without a word. After a while, she spoke quietly. "You are different from who?" he asked. "From them," she replied, looking at the stars again. "Do you know who sent you to me?" She shook her head slowly. "Only that the Baron ordered it." "Do you know what he wants?" "No," she whispered. "But he looked sad when I last saw him." "Sad?" She nodded, then touched the glass, tracing a star with her finger. He said, "Humans might still care about things." Rel didn't answer, because deep down, he didn't know if that was true anymore. But something about her silence, her strength, her broken hope, made him want to care again. He stood up and walked out, but before he left, she spoke once more. "I have no name," she said softly. "They never gave me one." Rel paused, then turned his head slightly. "We'll fix that," he said, and for the first time, the girl gave a small, tired smile. Secrets in her skin days passed, but the girl still didn't speak much. She would watch quietly, eat when given food, and sleep with one eye open. The crew kept their distance, some out of fear, some out of guilt. Commander Rel, however, visited her every morning and every night. She trusted him more than the others, but still, she hid something. The base medic, Dr. Harlow, asked for permission to do a full scan. Rel agreed in one condition: no needles, no pain, no surprises. He told her firmly. The girl hesitated. When they brought her to the scanner, but Rel was there, standing close, and she finally agreed. The scan began, the machine humming softly. Dr. Harlow stared at the screen, her eyes narrowing. "There's something strange," she muttered. Inside the girl's body, beneath her skin, there were tiny shapes. Thin threads of metal, glowing slightly, moving with her blood. "They're not implants," Harlow said. "They're growing with her tissue." Rel stepped closer to look. "What are they doing in there?" "I don't know yet," Harlow said, "but these threads, they're transmitting." A sharp tone came from the monitor. One of the threads lit up brighter than the rest, just for a moment. The girl jerked in pain and clutched her side. Rel rushed to her, but she waved him off. "I'm fine." She whispered, "It happens sometimes." "What are they doing to you?" he asked. She looked down, ashamed. "I was made," she said softly. "Not born, not grown. I was built, piece by piece, for something I don't understand." Her voice trembled. "They said I'd be ready soon." "Ready for what?" Rel asked. She shook her head, tears filling her eyes. "I don't know, but I think it's bad." Later, Rel reviewed the scan data alone. He noticed something. Dr. Harlow missed a pattern in the glowing threads. It wasn't just random tech, it was code, a Terran encryption pattern used by human military decades ago, buried deep in her cells. Moving like blood was a message. Rel ran the code through an old decoding system used during the Mars conflict. It cracked slowly, line by line, and revealed fragments of words. House Car, biological interface. Key host. Project Reconcile. The girl wasn't just made, she was carrying something, information, data. Maybe a hidden weapon or secret technology, and someone wanted her delivered to a human outpost. On purpose, that evening, as she sat under the heater in the common area, Rel joined her again. She looked pale but alert. "Do you know you have human code in your blood?" he asked gently. She nodded slowly. "They used it to stabilize me," she said. "But I think there's more." "What do you mean?" "Sometimes I hear voices," she whispered, "inside my head, like dreams, but not mine." "Memories?" She looked up, surprised. "Yes, I think they are memories." "Can you remember what they said?" "No, not clearly," she replied, "but there's a name." Again and again. "What name?" "Rel," she whispered. The commander froze. "My name?" She nodded. "I don't know why. But I hear it, like someone calling you from far away." Rel's heart pounded. This couldn't be coincidence. Later that night, the girl had a nightmare. She screamed in her sleep, sharp, raw, and terrified. Rel rushed in to find her curled in a corner. Shaking, he knelt beside her, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. She flinched, but then recognized him. "I saw machines," she said, gasping, "wires and pain. And your face, my face. You were there, but younger." Rel's breath caught in his chest. "I've never seen you before this week," he said quietly. "I know," she replied. "But somehow I remember you." Dr. Harlow later confirmed the impossible. The human DNA in the girl's body wasn't synthetic. It was copied from someone real. A perfect match. "Commander Rel, you're saying I'm her donor?" he asked, shocked. "More than that," Harlow replied. "Somehow Your genetic imprint was used to design her compatibility. She was meant to respond to you. She wasn't just a gift, she was connected to him, built with parts of him possibly to bond with him on a deeper level. But by who? And why? The Baron's true game snow fell outside the outpost dome, covering the landing pad in white silence. Inside, Commander Rel stared at the genetic report again and again. His DNA, his exact pattern, was inside her, not just copied, but fused into her cells. She wasn't just created for humans, she was created for him. Why me? He muttered, but no answer came. She sat quietly in the medical wing. Curled up in a thick blanket, she looked peaceful, but the truth was anything but. Rel walked into the room, holding a small hologram disc. "I need to show you something," he said. She looked up, unsure, but nodded. He placed the disc on the table, lit, glowed, and played a short video. It was grainy, recorded secretly. A tall alien figure, clearly the Baron, stood beside a glowing tank. Inside the tank was a small figure, floating, sleeping, wires running through her body. The Baron looked tired, not cruel. He spoke quietly to someone off-screen. "They'll come for her, if they know," he said, "but she must reach the humans. She is the last piece." The recording ended, and silence filled the room. The girl looked shaken, her hand rising to her chest. "That was me," she whispered, "before I woke up." Rel sat down across from her. "You weren't a gift," he said. "You were a message." She blinked, confused. "You were created by the Baron to be sent here, but not to serve, to warn." "But warn who?" she asked. Rel leaned forward. "You carry code-hidden memories, voice files, proof of something big. You may not remember it yet, but it's inside you, whatever they did." It wasn't just science. Later, the base's AI decrypted more of the code from her blood. It wasn't just message set, was history. Evidence of experiments, secret betrayals, slave colonies, and illegal hybrid programs, all done under the name of House Velkar. But secretly ordered by the High Court, the Baron had grown old and quiet. Many in the galaxy thought him weak, but in the shadows he had seen what his fellow nobles were doing, and he had chosen to rebel in the only way he could, by creating a living witness. The girl was that witness, a hybrid of human and alien, with emotions, memories, and proof woven into her body, a silent scream meant to wake up the galaxy. But now, the court had learned she was alive, and they were sending someone to silence her. That night, an alien ship approached Outpost 9. It didn't ask for permission. It didn't send a message. It simply hovered in orbit, scanning every system in the base. "We're being watched," Rel said grimly. Dr. Harlow frowned. "If they take her back, they'll erase everything." "Then they won't take her," Rel replied. But deep down, he knew the outpost couldn't survive an open attack. The girl began to remember. More each hour, dreams that weren't dreams, voices whispering orders. "Reconcile the past." One voice repeated. "Truth must survive the blood," she cried sometimes, curled up in the corner of her bed. "I didn't ask for this," she whispered. "I didn't want to remember." Rel sat with her, holding her hand. "I know," he said. "But it's not your fault. And now that you're here, we have a chance." A message was received from the ship above, short and cold. "Surrender the hybrid," it read, "or face destruction. No name, no seal, no mercy." Rel called a meeting with his officers. "We have two choices," he said. "We hand her over, or we run." Some wanted to fight, others wanted to cooperate. But no one could look her in the eyes and say, "Give her back. She's one of us now," said the engineer. "And I say we protect our own." A quiet murmur of agreement spread through the room. They would not surrender her, even if it meant war. Rel devised a plan. They would fake a systems failure, launch an empty shuttle as a decoy. Meanwhile, he would take her and a small crew to a remote ice moon nearby. They're hidden from sensors. They could buy Tim and lock the full data inside her, and if needed, broadcast it across the galaxy. This is bigger than one life, Rel told her. But I won't let them take you. She nodded slowly, her voice soft but steady. If we fail, what happens to the truth? Rel looked her in the eyes. Then we make sure we don't fail. Escape from the ice moon. The escape plan began at midnight. Snow lashed the dome. Winds howled like ghosts outside, inside the outpost. Lights dimmed on purpose, an illusion of a power failure. An old cargo shuttle launched into orbit, flickering and slow to enemy eyes. It looked like a desperate evacuation, but that shuttle was empty. The real escape was already in motion, deep under the ice. Commander Rel and the girl, along with 2 loyal crew members, rode a hidden crawler through ancient tunnels. The ice moaned around them, cracking with age and cold. They were heading for Outpost Theta 12, abandoned years ago during the Marstalos War. It was buried in a glacier, long forgotten, but Rel remembered it from old maps. No signals, no records, no life perfect for hiding. The girl sat beside him, bundled in a coat too big for her small frame. Her face was pale, but her eyes were focused. "Are they following us?" she asked. "Not yet," Rel said, "but they will." When they reached the hidden outpost, it was dark and frozen. The doors were sealed shut with thick ice. It took them hours to melt their way through using old plasma cutters. Inside, everything was covered in frost, broken and forgotten. They powered up the base using a backup generator buried under the floor. The lights flickered to life, revealing cracked walls and dusty terminals. But one thing still worked: the communication core. It was an old Earth AI system, outdated but stable. "Can it help us?" the girl asked. Rel nodded. "If there's a way to unlock the data inside you, this system can do it." She hesitated, looking down at her hands. "What if I don't want to remember?" Rel placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we stop," he said. "It's your choice, not theirs." After a long silence, she nodded. "Then let's do it." They connected her vitals to the terminal using non-invasive sensors. Her body trembled as the system scanned the embedded data in her cells. Lines of code lit up on the screen. Fragmented, deeply buried, the AI spoke in a calm voice. "Genetic key confirmed," it said. "Begin memory extraction." She gasped, her head jerking back as flashes of images passed through her mind. Not memories of her own, but of others. People she never met, places she had never seen, a hidden lab under the Baron's estate, scientists arguing, nobles laughing, and then children in cages, hybrids crying, machines drilling into their bones. Tears ran down her face. But she didn't stop. She gritted her teeth, holding onto the table. Rel stayed beside her the whole time, never letting go of her hand. After hours, the system beeped softly. "Memory extraction complete," it said. "Data ready for broadcast." She collapsed into Rel's arms. Breathing heavily, "It's all inside now," she whispered. Everything they did, every secret. Rel looked at the screen names, dates, proof. It was more than enough to bring down the court. He saved the files to a secure data pod ready to be launched into neutral space. "If we send this out," he said, "they'll do anything to stop it." Outside, warning lights flashed red. Motion sensors detected movement ships entering the atmosphere. "They found us," one of the crew whispered. 3 alien ships. "We're approaching fast. Heavy dropships, built for ground invasion. They're not coming to talk." Rel said. "Then we don't wait," the girl said, standing up on shaky legs. Her eyes glowed faintly now. The data had done something too. Her voice was stronger, her back straighter. "I can buy you time." "No," Rel said instantly. "We leave together." But the girl shook her head. "I can send out a signal, a pulse. It will blind their sensors for a few minutes. It's part of the tech inside me, I remembered. How to use it? It could kill you, Rel warned. She smiled sadly. If it means the truth gets out, then it's worth it. Rel stared at her, torn between his duty and something deeper. He had seen soldiers with courage, but never a child this brave. He nodded slowly. Only if I'm right beside you, he said. Together, they went to the Cums platform on the roof of the old outpost. The alien ships were descending fast, lights piercing the snowstorm. The girl stood tall, placing both hands on the signal node. Energy surged through her, lighting her veins with glowing blue. She screamed, not in pain, but in power. A shockwave burst from the tower, sending static across the sky. The alien ships veered off course, blind and disoriented. Rel launched the data pod into orbit, watching it disappear into the clouds. It's done, he whispered. The girl collapsed, her body limp in the snow. He caught her before she hit the ground. Stay with me, he said. You did it? Her eyes fluttered open. Just for a moment, did they see? She asked. Yes, he said. They'll all see now. The message she carries the storm outside had calmed, but inside the old ice outpost, a different storm had begun. The message had been launched. The data pod, small and silver, raced through the upper atmosphere. It carried the secrets buried in the girl's body. And soon the whole galaxy would know. She lay motionless on a cot in the lower bunker. Her face was pale, her skin still glowing faintly where the signal had burst from her veins. Commander. Rel sat beside her, his hands gripping hers. The med scanner beeped slowly, too slowly. She used everything she had, Dr. Harlow said. Her body's in shock. But she's alive, Rel said firmly. Yes, Harlow nodded, but just barely. He stayed there for hours, watching every breath she took. The rest of the crew monitored incoming transmissions. Then, finally, a signal came through. From a neutral space relay station public broadcast, Galactic Range, the message had been received. And it was spreading. Screens lit up in every colony, every neutral port, every newsfeed. The files were too detailed, too real to deny. Video recordings of noble scientists experimenting on hybrids. Voice files of high court members laughing about disposable creations. Signed orders for illegal breeding programs across border systems, and names, so many names, of the victims. Of the guilty and of those who stayed silent, the galaxy shook. Protests began within hours. On Calthus, nobles were dragged from their towers. On Mars, diplomats canceled treaties with the alien court. In orbit around Earth, the High Assembly called an emergency vote. Back in the outpost, Rel finally saw. Her stir, her fingers twitched, her lips moved. He leaned closer. You're safe, he whispered. They can't ignore the truth now. Her eyes opened slowly. Did it work? She asked weakly. Yes, he nodded. There listening, tears filled her eyes, not of pain, but of release. For the first time in her short life, she was more than an experiment. She was someone. She was heard. She sat up slowly. The next morning, her strength returning in tiny steps. Rel brought her a small bowl of warm broth and sat beside her. I don't remember much about before. She said quietly, but I know I was meant for this. You were, he replied. And you did more than anyone could have asked. Later, the AI finished decoding the final piece of the data. A hidden message left by the Baron himself. It was recorded just before the girl had been sealed in the box. The hologram flickered to life, showing the tired, proud face of the alien noble. To the human who receives her, the Baron began. She is not your enemy, nor your tool. She is the key to something better. I did what I could, he said. I have no army. No voice in the court, only this child. Protect her and protect the truth. Then the recording ended. And silence returned to the bunker. He knew he wouldn't survive this, Rel said softly. The girl stared at the empty screen, her voice low. "He gave up everything." "To send me here, you're more than a message now," Rel said. "Your hope." That afternoon, a new signal arrived, this time from Earth. A civilian rescue ship was en route, escorted by neutral human forces. The message was clear. Outpost 9 and all its personnel are now under human protection. And one more line. The girl is not to be harmed. The alien warships in orbit backed off. Slowly retreating into deep space, the court had been exposed. They couldn't act without risking war. For now, she was safe before they left. The girl walked to the highest point of the bunker. She looked out across the frozen horizon, wind. Brushing her face, Rel joined her, silent at her side. "I don't know what I'm supposed to be now," she said. "Alive," Rel replied. "That's more than enough." She turned to him. "Do I get to choose my name now?" He smiled. "You do?" She thought for a moment, then whispered something only he could hear. He nodded. "It suits you." Together, they walked back toward the landing pad. The sky above was clearing, stars shining again. A new life was waiting, not just for her, but for everyone who heard the truth. What the galaxy saw the rescue ship arrived at dawn, its silver body sliced through the pale sky like a promise. For the girl who had once been sealed in a box, was the first time she saw a ship and didn't feel fear. Instead, she felt the warmth of something new, freedom. She walked beside Commander Rel, wrapped in a fresh coat. No collar on her neck, no tag on her wrist. She had chosen a name for herself, Nanelia. Short, soft, and hers. As she boarded the ship, crew members stepped aside, staring in silence. Some bowed their heads, others gave quiet nods of respect. No one saw a test subject anymore. They saw a survivor, a fighter. A spark that had changed everything from the orbit above. Earth looked peaceful, blue and bright, but down on the ground, the world was awake. Screens across cities, colonies, and spaceports still played the data leaks from the Baron's girl. Every hour, a new planet broke ties with the alien court. Every day, another noble house was questioned, challenged, or overthrown. A special broadcast played across human and alien channels. It was brief, but powerful. Rel stood behind Elia as she looked into the camera for the first time. She spoke softly. "I was made in silence," she said. "I lived in fear, but now I speak. And I am heard." She looked into the lens, her voice calm, to those who feel forgotten. "You are not alone." The message was translated into 100 languages and watched by billions in the slums of Titan. Children painted stars on walls and wrote her name. On the mining world of Elkaris, workers refused to ship cargo to court. Worlds in hidden labs, other hybrids began to speak up. One girl's voice had reached across systems, across fear, and broken something old and cruel. Weeks passed, and Elia began her new life on Earth. Rel was granted leave from military service, not because he retired, because EarthGov asked him to stay with her. She didn't need a commander anymore. She needed a guardian, a guide, a father. Figure and Rel had already chosen her the moment he opened that box. They lived in a quiet house on the coast, simple, warm, filled with green plants and soft light. Elia studied books, real ones made of paper. She liked the feeling of pages between her fingers. Rel cooked strange earth dishes for her, and she always smiled, even when they tasted odd. Sometimes she had nightmares, but now she awoke with someone there beside her. Someone who reminded her she wasn't alone anymore. One morning, a letter arrived stamped with the seal of the new Galactic Council. They were forming a tribunal. The court had fallen, and trials would begin soon. But there was Morelia was invited to speak as the first living evidence. A voice, not a weapon. A symbol of justice, not revenge, at the hearing. She stood on a wide circular platform surrounded by delegates from dozens of worlds. She didn't shout, she didn't cry. She simply told the truth about what had been done to her and what she had chosen to become. When she finished, there was silence, then a slow, rising wave of applause, not forced, not polite, but real. It echoed across systems, and for the first time, the galaxy didn't just hear the truth, it believed it. After the trial, reforms began. The breeding programs were dismantled. Survivors were offered homes, identities, and freedom. And a monument was built in the central dome of the neutral station on Kedra Prime. It was a statue not of a soldier or a ruler, but of a girl standing tall, looking toward the stars. At the base was a single phrase, written in both human, standard, and alien glyph. She was not created to speak, but she spoke for us all. Back home, Elia stood on the shore, watching the waves. Rel stood beside her, holding 2 mugs of tea. She took one and smiled. "Do you think it'll last?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "Not without struggle," he said, "but it started with you." She looked out at the horizon once. Her world had been metal walls and cold hands. Now it was open sky and ocean winds. She had been made to carry silence, but she chose to carry truth instead. And because of that, the galaxy would never be the same again.